We will cover irregular French verbs under the preterite in this lesson. For j'ai verbs in E will precede all preterite endings with the exception of the plural il, elle form. So for manger we have manger, mangea, mangea, mangeam, mangeat, manger. Under the preterite, j'ai verbs will include an E prior to the preterite ending in all forms with the exception of the plural il, elle form, which will remain regular. Ces verbs will include a cedilla prior to the preterite endings in all forms, but again with the exception of the plural il, elle form. So for commencer we have commencer, commença, commença, commençam, commençat, commencer. So ces verbs will have a cedilla in their preterite stem with the exception of the regular plural il, elle form. The next few groups of verbs add the regular IR or RE preterite endings to their irregular preterite stems in all forms, and this also applies to the il, elle plural form. So for ouïr verbs, they add an S to the end of their preterite stems. For traduire, we have traduisi, 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 traduisim, traduisit, traduisir. Andre verbs add a G prior to the N of their preterite stems. For attendre, we have atteigni, 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 atteignim, atteignit, atteignir. Querir verbs will remove the erir to form their preterite stems. For acquérir, we have acquis, 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 acquim, acquit, acquire. These verbs have their own types of irregular preterite stems, but they take the usual IR or RE preterite endings. Using the irregular preterite stems of dir and vank as examples, we have di, di, dim, dit, dir. Vanki, 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 vankim, vankit, vankir. There are a large number of verbs that have irregular stems in the preterite based on irregular past participles that end in U. These types of verbs have their own irregular preterite endings, in addition to their irregular preterite stems. So the preterite endings for these irregular U past participle verbs are us, ut, ut, er. For apparaître, its preterite stem is apparu, so the preterite conjugations are apparu, 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 apparum, apparut, apparua. Now, regular RE verbs with past participles ending in U, such as vendre, whose past participle is vendu, they will still be conjugated regularly in the preterite, and they do not fall under this irregular category of U past participle verbs. The following groups of verbs do belong to this category of irregular U past participle preterite verbs. We have être verbs, clure verbs, two-stem present tense verbs, savoir and valoir, three-stem present tense verbs, and other verbs with irregular U past participles. Mourir and être do not have U past participles, but they do have U preterite stems, moru and fou. The preterite conjugations for mourir: moru, 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 morum, morut, morur. The preterite conjugations for être: fu, 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 fum, fut, fur. The verbs tenir and venir are conjugated similarly to irregular U past participle verbs in the preterite, but they have different stems. They also have slightly different nu and vu preterite conjugations compared to irregular U past participle verbs. Their preterite stems are ten and vin. The preterite conjugations for tenir: ten, 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 tom, tant, tant. For venir: vent, 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 vam, vent, vent. And once more we have the impersonal verbs falloir and pleuvoir, which are only conjugated in the il form: il fallut, il plut. And that sums up irregular French verbs under the preterite. I want you to keep in mind that irregular verbs based on irregular U past participles have their own set of endings for irregular preterite conjugations. I again apologize for any mispronunciations I may have, as I am not a French speaker. As I always say, I would very much appreciate it if you could please do me a favor and share this video series with your friends and teachers. And that is all for now, so until next time.